Today in 2023, we still are only at 15% of the entire startup ecosystem being represented by women.
Let me tell you, solid waste management is the problem of the century.
I think my philosophy is always going to be health cannot be achieved without happiness.
Congratulations for this season of International Women's Day month, March 2023. Okay, so as we celebrate women, we celebrate entrepreneurship, we celebrate innovation and leadership. Let's begin with this special panel with different women leaders doing different type of work in this area, celebrating women leaders, entrepreneurs and innovators. I welcome you all and I welcome all my panelists here. So let's start with a quick introduction on what you have been doing as women leaders, entrepreneurs and innovators in your own area, and then we can move with some questions.
Hi everyone, my name is Diksha Ahuja and I'm the founder of an entity called Incubate. Just to kind of summarize what we do is, we work to ensure that there are more of you in the room. We're a global diversity-focused network of female founders, corporates, investors, all working towards ensuring that the gaps that female founders face in the ecosystem are done away with, right? It's a 10,000 strong, organization, lots of members across India as well as, internationally. And our aim is to ensure that more women get funded, more women scale their ventures, because honestly, entrepreneurship is gender agnostic, right? The numbers are dismal, but we try our best every day to ensure that more female founders are supported and funded.
Hi everyone, good evening. I'm Dr. Nikita Mittal and I run a health and wellness brand for women in Pune called DanzoFit. My basic philosophy is that every day of our lives we all realize we want to exercise, we want to stay fit, but as women we haven't really found the most scientific solution which also supports our other goals, which is emotional and mental health care. So DanzoFit is a brand that promotes community of women around health and wellness. We have 3 branches in the city today, in Aund, Kalyani Nagar and in Salisbury Park, and I strongly believe and I stand by that every woman who wants to achieve, and all of you gave the qualities, multitasking, she's an achiever, she's empathetic, and to be able to do more of this and to contribute to society and now take up the role of being successful entrepreneurs and being ambitious, the first and foremost thing that we all need is to know ourselves better. And the only way to know ourselves better is to take care of ourselves. And the only way to take care of ourselves is to find a place where we can meet women like us who are positively and excitedly working towards healthcare. And that community is what will keep pushing me more and more ahead towards my goals in all spheres. So DanzoFit is purely a women's health and wellness community, and all of you are welcome to join. Follow us on Instagram. You get a lot of ideas of what you can do for yourself, even if you can't make it to the class. We're also now, with the help of Incubate, opening our doors to franchising only for women. We want to now create a women ecosystem of franchisee owners because that's our way of empowering them towards a new business and also grooming them in entrepreneurship. So thank you so much for this evening.
So good evening, I'm Anita Kane, and at the Pune Knowledge Cluster, my focus is on designing, rather conceptualizing and designing solutions which will help in the climate resilience or to build climate resilience in the Pune city. So innovation here is in terms of even the concept, the ideation, development of the solution. So a lot of innovative ideas need to be brought in. For example, we have the transport sector in Pune, which is one of the biggest pollutants as far as GHG emissions is concerned, as far as air pollution is concerned. So how can this be improved? This can be improved if we can nudge more and more citizens to move from personal automobiles to public transport. So, I'm going to run a program to actually do this. So it's a behavior change program. So there's a lot of innovation in all this. I just gave this as an example. There are a number of other programs on the carbon sink side as well.
Thank you, Anita ma'am, for this beautiful, example on innovation. So, innovation is not only in technology; it can be in ideas, it can be in processes, it can be even in business models, right? So what is the best way to celebrate women entrepreneurship, right? Is I think by hearing inspiring stories. So maybe we can start with some very very inspiring, unique, extraordinary stories on how women entrepreneurs are transforming India through their work. So maybe we can start with Diksha.
Right. So, Suchita, before I sort of go to your question, I want to put down some data points for the audience. Today in 2023, we still are only at 15% of the entire startup ecosystem being represented by women. Less than 2% of institutional funding, which is venture capital or PE funding, goes to women. But the silver lining is that in the past 5 years, there has been an increase of almost 300% in the number of female entrepreneurs, right? And we ourselves are also trying to solve this by funding. We're one of the first female-led funding networks that supports early to growth stage tech-focused companies. And I can tell you this out of experience that I probably listen to about 500 companies on a monthly basis who pitch to us for funding. And some of them are building such innovative products, and I'm going to come and talk about some of them, right? One of them that I recently came across, we were in Bangalore, we did a conference. There's a lady who has kind of invented bio 3D printing material, right? So for surgeries, in skin grafting, if someone loses an organ, it's actually 3D printing of that biomaterial, right? And she's making it here from India, and of course taking her entire technology, across the globe. You have women who are going to tier 2, tier 3 towns. There's a company called Nario, which is actually empowering women in these villages, in these districts, helping them sell their products to tier 1 metros, right? Through kind of creating a rural to a metro distribution channel. You have women who are building in femtech, which is female healthcare, which is, I think, a huge opportunity. We all know of a company called Maven Clinic, which had $1 billion valuation based out of the US, right? There's a company called MyAva that's created an app for helping women manage PCOS, which we know is so common, right? So I don't think there's a dearth of success stories or innovations that come out of women. I think what we need to do is really start making these innovations mainstream, and at the same time funding these opportunities, right? Each and every one of you today can be an angel investor, can support these businesses, can give them B2B opportunities. So really, if we look around, there are so many innovative stories.
Very, very interesting, especially, because there's a lot of stereotypes around, what women can do, what women cannot do. And these are some of the really, out-of-box examples I am myself hearing, and I think we have a long way to go, but with organizations like NQBay and SMX and ASM, I think we'll definitely achieve some targets. Will be very different next year, hopefully. So ma'am, Anita ma'am, can you speak about some similar stories on social impact?
There are a number of women right here in Pune, women entrepreneurs, who are doing work, that has social impact. So Dr. Priyadarshini Karve, then she has Samuchit Envirotech, and they are creating products which are eco-friendly. So a lot of work in the climate space. Then if you take education, there are again number of people. So it's not as if, someone should be missed. Like there's Dr. Arpita Karkare who started the Walnut School, and Medha Tadpatrikar who set up shop to create fuel from plastic. But today I wanted to talk about Nirmala Kandalgaonkar, and I was so fortunate when I walked back that she's present there. So the reason I wanted to tell about her is that she started with simple beginnings, brought up her children initially, and then wanted to give back to the society. So what can she do without much capital, etc.? So she focused on the solid waste management space. Today, let me tell you, I was a technologist for 40 years, right? I'm now in this space, in the social space for the last 5-6 years. And let me tell you, solid waste management is the problem of the century, right? So the kind of waste we are creating. So she took up that in early 2000. So long back, started simply with vermicomposting, very simple, but set it up, went to rural groups, peri-urban and rural areas, that's her thing, and going to communities and women groups. So the women started composting, creating vermicompost, and then selling it to the farmers. So this is a simple start. Then even technically upgraded herself to set up biogas plants. From women self-help groups, added hostels, hotels, etc. And I remember she told some stories about. So you have to learn to deal with the things, and all that is included. When somebody stops paying for subscription, what can you do? They're buying biogas from you, but if they don't pay your bill, what do you do? So a lot of things out there, and then they have Vivam Agrotech now. It's more than a 5 crore business, maybe small, but the reason I wanted to bring it up is the simplicity and a very simple thing which is having a very large social impact today.
That's great. Congratulations to all of you who are here. And it's amazing that someone is very proudly speaking about your story, talking on your behalf. It's a real pride, right? So Nikita, coming to you, how is DunzoFit? Healthcare is one very, very, very important sector which will be greatly benefited and will bring a major transformation, right? So coming from one of the examples of healthcare sector, how is DunzoFit unique? And what are some unique things you are doing to benefit common people like us, and especially women?
So I was as excited as as a child when I came across this idea that 50% of our country's population is women, and there is not a single brand of fitness for women by women. A guy who starts a gym and runs a gym seldom understands. I'm a physiotherapist by profession, and now I study dance therapy, and I've understood that when I go to a gym, the trainer of the gym does not understand the life cycle of a woman. When I'm premenstrual, menstrual, premarital, prenatal, postnatal, premenopausal, postmenopausal, every 5 to 7 years, the hormonal cycle of a woman completely changes. Sometimes you have estrogen, sometimes you don't, sometimes you have extra androgen, sometimes you have PCOS, thyroid. You just have so many needs physically and emotionally because the hormones play havoc with our emotions. And that's something physiological, right? There is not a single brand in healthcare for women today in India which can take care of your health, give you weight loss happily. I think my philosophy is always going to be health cannot be achieved without happiness. All of us who are trying really hard to lose weight or reverse disease and are punishing ourselves will eventually face either mental health crisis or physical crisis in punishing our bodies. So DunzoFit's philosophy towards women's health is celebrate health. So the goal of the first month of any DunzoFit member, Sucheta, is can you have fun? Come here for 10 days a month and just enjoy yourself. Your weight loss, so our internal company tagline is your health, our responsibility. Just give it on us. You just have fun. And if a woman can start celebrating 1 hour of her day, her body, and because dance is the fastest way to de-stress. So dance is one of our pillars, along with, of course, using therapeutic approaches of dance, using workouts, using fun group exercises. Sometimes we forget touch can be so therapeutic. So women really do not have anybody who gives them positive, self-assuring touch. So we use some of these pillars of psychology, of human behavior, and that is how I have felt that 90% of my testimonials are, I love this place. Not about only weight loss. It's not, my before after is never about 10 kgs after 3 months. It's always about, I never enjoyed exercising, now I love exercising. I was always low on energy, now I'm very high on energy. I used to feel very low on confidence about myself, now I feel great in my body. And I think that's my biggest achievement as a brand. If I can help women, 50% of my country's population, feel happy. She is in turn going to carry this in her life, carry this to her family, to her work, to her profession, and be able to do more of everything that she's anyways doing so much about. So, of course, we are being plagued also with a very unique health problem in this century. We have now created a very complex web of physical, mental health issues, psychosomatic illnesses which reflect very differently in women. They're not cardiovascular issues in me and you are very different, in men are very different. Diabetes in you and me, in men are very different, right? So that's just my goal, scientific but happy exercising for every woman that comes across.
Thank you, Nikita. I think it is so important, right? That reminds me of the quote, one size doesn't fit all. If you go to other gyms, they just do very standard things and, they just start pushing you. It doesn't work, right? So here it's all about thinking and empathy, right? How they are able to understand the needs and most importantly, what is changing. You cannot treat everyone in the same way, right? Very, very unique. I think what you said, we rarely hear, otherwise there's no personalization, right? We're just pushed into things. So coming back to Diksha, you have been working with so many, different entrepreneurs. So can you share some insights on which sectors women are contributing more than, is there any pattern where particular sectors are more and particular sectors are not very much touched by women yet?
Definitely, and in fact, the first sector that I feel is on its way to being disrupted by women is healthcare, right? And it's very, very logical. If you put the number and do the math, today a lot of the practitioners in health, right, whether it's physical, mental, holistic healthcare, are actually women, right? Whether, practitioners, trainers, experts. So by default, health as a sector poses a very, very unique and a very positive opportunity for women to come and disrupt, right? Female healthcare, which is what we refer to as femtech, right? Anything around helping solve for the female healthcare, from products to solutions to health management. I think all of these sectors, there are a lot of women, and I think you can see it in terms of the numbers. Like, we've personally funded 2 companies that are disrupting in health, and I'll be very honest with you, healthcare is one of our mandates in terms of investment, right? That's one. The second that I'd like to talk about is consumer, right? We've all seen in the past 4 to 5 years a wave of D2C, which is direct to consumer brands, right? Whether it be beauty, whether it be food, fashion, everything, right? And there's a stat that says that 70% of the founders of consumer in the country are women, right? Look at all our, unicorns, whether it's a Sugar, whether it's a Mama, or a couple of other companies, right? So consumer as such, again, poses a great opportunity because, I think women know what other women want to buy. A lot of purchasing decisions are made by women. Secondly, I think it's very important to also understand the fact that today as a woman, when I'm thinking, I'm not only thinking about myself, but I'm thinking about everyone in my family, right? I know what the kids want, I know what, my partner wants, I know what, maybe parents or, older people in the family want. So automatically, as a creator, as an innovator, I'm putting a product there that, has a much higher lifetime value, right? That's consumer. The third one that I'd like to touch upon, and I think I feel very proud about, is sustainability. Women are extremely conscious about the way that we are misusing the planet, right? Whether it is, alternate products, whether it's anything that's waste disposal. There's a company that we've backed, it's called Impact Tree, and what they do is they've actually come up with an entire tech platform to help corporates, NGOs understand what is the impact of their work, right? And how are they positively, negatively impacting to their carbon footprint, right? So by default, I think a lot of women innovate in the sustainability space, and that's going to be a very hot space because we know that we don't have a planet B. Today, India has 5 active large funds that want to invest in sustainability, right? So I think sustainability as a sector, we see a lot of companies. And the last one I'd like to mention is education and edtech, right? Not to sort of say anything otherwise, but I feel the way the edtech Indian story has been written is not the real story. It's been marred, the way that it's been done is not the most optimum, but we come across so many amazing businesses that are run by women that are very sustainable. So I think the next wave of edtech in India is going to be sustainable edtech businesses run by women. So those are 4 sectors where we see a lot of women, and I think the other sectors are just waiting to be disrupted.
Great. So I hope there are a lot of women entrepreneurs here, aspiring women entrepreneurs here, who are listening to these stories and exploring ideas and problems in other sectors. And there is no dearth of problems. What is good about women entrepreneurs is we say that women have that sixth sense, but women are natural leaders. Women are natural problem solvers, and a genuine entrepreneur is the one who solves problems and in an innovative way, right? So there has to be so much to be done yet. And the most important thing being talked about these days is, where is India going? How is India transforming? And, moving towards $4 trillion economy. And what will be the women's role here? What will be women's contributions? So Anita ma'am, you have worked a lot in public sector, smart cities. So what do you think will be women's contribution? What will be the share of pie, with proudly we can take and say that this will be the women entrepreneurs' contribution in taking India to that $4 trillion target. And what are the challenges, in achieving or making them help in achieving these targets?
Well, if you look at the figures, I think Diksha just mentioned some statistics. I just wanted to remind that if you look at the last 7-8 years, the number of women entrepreneurs has increased, correct? But these are primarily in the micro small segment. So if you say MSME, then they are at the lower end, which means their contribution to the turnover of the GDP as such is far less. I think she probably mentioned it, but it's in single digit. The percentage is single digit. So there's a long way to go. So what are the typical challenges? And while I was very happy to hear from Mr. GR in the inaugural session that women were the best salesmen. So that is very good. But in general, what the statistics says is that the challenges are typically access to finance, or even the weak point is sales, really. And those are the areas where they need help. Now, how can you approach this problem? I think we have to really start at the grassroots, because you have to work on the mindset and position entrepreneurship as an option which is very much equal to employment, to today it is being talked about, who all came for placement and what were the highest placement package in a certain college. But we're not showing off on entrepreneurship, right? So it has to start right from the beginning, from what we can do in the schools. I'm not aware, but certainly, you have to present role models, etc. So that you have to present entrepreneurship in good light. So I think there are a number of initiatives taken by the government, multiple sectors, and they are showing results. Because I'm with the tech background, NASCOM is running the Tech.we Women Entrepreneurs Program with a target of 10,000 entrepreneurs, which has probably reached somewhere close to 7,000. So because of this, you are seeing a lot of things, but I think still a number of things need to be put in place. And also, see, I don't like to go to, say, social norms, because I'm a person who believes that if I want to do it, I will do it. Social norms, etc. don't bother me, right? So I will not mention that, but people may mention so. However, stability that a job offers is still something different than, a typical roller coaster ride of an entrepreneur. So that is probably something we have to solve, but through maybe branding or putting images and things.
I just want to say this, right? I mean, thank you for sort of saying that you're not going to talk about societal norms. I think one thing that we need to teach our women or tell women is make as many mistakes. Entrepreneurship is about failing quickly and of course long term there's success. But as women, we're always taught to be perfect, to do the right things, to say the right things to the right people. I think please get rid of those messages. Just be as fearless, make mistakes, because if you don't make mistakes, unfortunately entrepreneurship will not happen.
It's also amazing, that we as women have been so protected in our country since childhood. We have been in our DNA told that somebody will always take care of you. And entrepreneurship, sorry to say, isn't that protected a space. So a lot of women do not take the risks required in entrepreneurship because we have been told to stay risk averse. Don't travel alone, don't do this, don't do that, it's too late, call me out. So we haven't been allowed to explore our own potential because we're so risk averse, and we've been taught in our DNA, in our community, that risk is not good for you. You should not risk because you're a female. And that is, I think, the biggest predicament, that we stop even dreaming big. Because even in dreaming big, there is a risk, right? I will have to dream fearlessly as an entrepreneur to actually take the steps to achieve even 1% of where I want to go. So I think we have to stop telling our daughters and our sisters that somebody is always going to take care of you, because entrepreneurship, we generally step out, as Anita ma'am said, is because nobody's taking care of you. You got to look out for yourself. You got to go look for that money. You got to go ask for that money. You got to go seek support from your family, from your friends, from your colleagues, and you got to really be out there. Networking is a big problem for women because late nights are not okay for us, and you cannot network at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So, these little social stigmas that we've been bred with. I have a team of women, and I think we've been so happy to say that they've all gone through cycles of marriage, babies, changing cities, and still stayed in the workforce. So we'll have to push women to stop falling prey to social, norms.
Yeah, that's very true. I think, thanks. I think we connected so well with, each other's statements. And I think two important points which I take away from Anita ma'am's statement is, promoting entrepreneurship as a career, as a path. It is very important because still, it is not being promoted. And the second thing which, she said that it's a roller coaster ride. It's a lonely ride. There are ups and downs. People will come, go away, leave you. And how do you take care of your health? There are entrepreneurs who say, I'm working for 17 hours, 20 hours, I'm doing, 48-hour shifts. So, Nikita, how do you take care of your health when you have so much of stress, commitment? You are accountable for, paying salaries for, people, and you don't know whether that amount will come or not. How do they take care of their mental health, well-being, and wellness?
I think anybody who says they don't have time for exercise or meditation or pranayam is simply not in love with what they do. You're just making an excuse. You cannot do enough of what you do if you're not going to take care of yourself, because you are the anchor for your employees, for your organization. You're also an inspiration, like as Kuljeet ma'am said, you have to become a positive disruptor as a woman, and especially as a founder, as somebody who's at the helm of affairs, because there are so many people watching your story. There's so many girls out there. I get messages day in and day out from girls from tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities saying, we're so inspired. So, Sucheta, I'd say that it's one day at a time. Today is the day I work for 8 hours, 9 hours, 15 hours, and today is the day I need to take care of my health. And it's just 0.001% of the day. That 30 minutes of walk, that 30 minutes of yoga, do what you love. I think we've mistaken exercise with the word exert. It comes from the root exert, and also we call it routine. We also call it workout. I think all these names have to be thrown out the window, and I think you should find, today I feel like cycling, today I feel like swimming. You don't always have to be on the path of perfect bodies. We have to replace physique with function as women. We exercise for function. We don't exercise always for physique, because we need to function. And if you do not exercise for function, then you're eventually going to fall prey. The first one, because your physiology is different and it demands you to take care. You will have hormonal slowdown and your fat metabolism will slow down. So stop fighting nature. You need to take care of your health. And everything else, I think, is an excuse if you don't love yourself enough. So anybody who says, I don't have time to exercise, simply needs to ask, do I really love myself? Then I will find time.
That's great, Nikita, and I hope all of you are hearing. Very, very important, to give time. And, that comes, it's amazing, how the answers are flowing through. So I am a very big fan of technology. It is indispensable in my life, It's enabling, empowering us like anything, right? So Anita ma'am, you have worked a lot on technology. So what do you think? What role technology is playing in empowering women entrepreneurs?
Okay, so technology, has changed a number of conventional paradigms. So, in fact, it has helped women, right? Because it's bridged the distance. So, work from home is possible because I have access to all my networks, the internet, everything from where I sit. So, it has bridged the gap. It has brought even customers close, businesses close. So, your clients, your teams, etc. So, a lot of collaboration platforms. And the other thing is what is available out there in the open domain. So just to give you an example from here itself. So if you look at Sucheta has been running a Women in Data Science group, a very, very vibrant community of women working in data science and machine learning. For last several years, they conduct yearly events and many things. There's mentorship, there's many things that happen. And if you look at the cost, because most of the things are from the open domain. The solutions that they choose for collaboration, for conducting the events, etc., they're all from the open domain. So the cost of the event, brought down. So that's also, innovation. And I wanted to mention, what technology can enable. Then, of course, there is, a very simple type of startups. So, you see the e-commerce revolution, right? in 2006, mostly people were selling, you know, in the conventional way. Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, etc. were a little, okay, well, they might be there, but not very popular, or it's not very common. So, Sonu, I think Tenovia is her startup. So, Sonu was one person from Bangalore who was actually a digital, no, not a digital, who was a marketeer for her team. She worked in the retail domain, and you know, she realized that what is the benefit of marketing analytics, and she became an entrepreneur, set up a marketing analytics firm, and while the initial pace may be slow, once e-commerce caught up, you know, they were there. They were there who understood the space, and today if you look at Tenovia, they have a lot of leading brands like MTR and Body Shop, etc., who subscribe to them. So what I'm just saying is that look at the transformation that has taken place because of technology. These technology platforms have also changed the way. I gave an example of retail platforms and, you know, the related entrepreneurship. But in the same way, there are technology platforms for, you know, what is office ride? So everywhere, right? So Uber, Ola, all technology platforms. And I think there the field is a level playing field. So that is the most important thing.
I think,
wanted to
yeah, thank you,
mention.
ma'am. Very important, you know, you can do your product, solution, entrepreneurship in any sector, in any field, but technology is inevitable, it is indispensable, and you know, you have to leverage it to scale, to speed, to reach masses, to personalize, to customize, and you know, there is no aid to it. Especially the biggest role technology plays is in the experience you get, you know, using technology. So see, there are so many things to talk and we are short of time today, but I would like each one of you to give, you know, some important mantras for all our women entrepreneurs here and the would-be women entrepreneurs, that what are the 2 mantras you will give from your side to become successful, to grow, to sustain, and to empower themselves further. Maybe Diksha, we can start with you.
So I think I mentioned this earlier, but you know, be fearless. Please be as comfortable making mistakes as you might be, you know, sipping success. And I think the other thing is this is the best time to be a female founder in the country. So stop thinking and start doing.
So my message or my mantra, which I don't really think there's any one. I think it's an essay I would want to tell women on health. But I think the essence is that do just 1% for yourself as much as you do for the world. You know, every day you're a giver, and if you're a giver, then give yourself first. Give yourself the juice first, give yourself the salad first, give yourself the exercise regime, the good diet. Don't eat the leftovers. Don't wait for everybody to finish and then eat the last ounce of food left on the table. Prepare special hot meals for yourself. So give yourself 1% of how much you give the world, and that will change your whole world. They'll all be very happy. My children are very happy when me and my husband exercise, because then I can tell him, you also need to exercise. So
Yeah, so from my side, just very simple. So I'll say that they can because they think they can. So think big, go for it, and you'll be there.
Thank you everyone. That was wonderful. I would now like to call upon stage Preeti Pachpande ma'am to felicitate the dais.